I believe that those who subscribe and like this video will have a lot of good luck.
There is a strange hour in the middle of the night when everything feels heavier than it truly is. The ceiling seems closer, the silence feels louder, and a single unanswered message can feel like a verdict on your entire worth. In that hour your mind becomes a storyteller but not a gentle one. It writes scripts where you fail, scenes where you are rejected, futures where everything falls apart. The most dangerous part is that it sounds convincing and it feels urgent. But what if that voice is not truth? What if it is simply a tired brain trying to protect you in the only way it knows how? There was once a young man who believed his nighttime thoughts were warnings. Every evening he lay in bed and reviewed his entire day like a judge reviewing a case. He replayed conversations searching for hidden disapproval in someone's tone. He analyzed small mistakes as if they were permanent stains on his character. He imagined future failures in vivid detail, convincing himself he was preparing for reality. He told himself that worrying meant he cared and overthinking meant you were responsible. Slowly something changed. He began waking up exhausted, not just physically tired but emotionally drained before the day even began. He noticed that the scenarios he rehearsed at night almost never happened. The rejection he feared rarely appeared. The disasters he imagined disappeared in the daylight. Yet the damage was real. His sleep was shallow and his confidence was shrinking. One night, instead of fighting his thoughts, he did something different. When a worry appeared, he did not argue with it and he did not try to solve it. He simply asked one quiet question: is this useful right now? That question did not silence his mind instantly, but it created space. For the first time he saw that most of his midnight thoughts were not solutions but rehearsals of fear. His brain was scanning for danger in the dark, just as it was designed to do long ago when darkness meant survival risk. But in a modern bedroom safe behind locked doors, those alarms were false. He began practicing a simple ritual. Before bed he wrote down 3 things. What went well today? What needs attention tomorrow? What I release until morning? This small habit changed everything. His brain no longer needed to hold unfinished tasks like open tabs. It no longer needed to replay the day searching for closure. He gave it permission to rest. The lesson is powerful. Your mind at midnight is not your wisest advisor. It is your most sensitive protector, and a protector that never sleeps becomes paranoid. When you are tired, your emotional brain becomes louder than your rational one. That is biology, not weakness. But biology does not have to control you. Awareness changes the pattern. Instead of wrestling with thoughts, you can observe them. Instead of believing every fear, you can label it. Catastrophizing, mind reading, future predicting. When you name a pattern, you weaken its grip. When you breathe slowly and lengthen your exhale, you send a signal to your nervous system that you are safe. Safety reduces urgency, and urgency fuels overthinking. An old teacher once said the mind is like water. During the day, wind and movement stir it constantly. At night, when everything becomes still, the water begins to settle. But if you keep throwing stones of regret and fear into it, the water will never clear. Clarity comes from stillness, not struggle. Overthinking feels productive, but it rarely is. Real solutions require energy, clarity, and perspective, and those are born from rest. Sleep is not laziness. It is maintenance for your brain. It consolidates memory, regulates emotion, and strengthens your body. When you sacrifice it for worry, you weaken the very tool you need for tomorrow. Peace at night is not about controlling thoughts. It is about changing your relationship with them. Let them pass like distant cars on a quiet road. Notice them without stepping into traffic. Remind yourself gently that you do not solve your life at midnight. You rest at midnight and you think in the morning. Slowly the night becomes softer. The silence becomes supportive instead of threatening. Your bed stops being a courtroom and becomes what it was meant to be. A place of recovery. One evening you will lie down and the familiar voice may try to begin again. But this time you will recognize it. You will breathe. You will let it speak without obeying it. And within minutes it will fade. Because not every thought deserves your attention and not every fear deserves your energy. Some things are meant to be handled in the light. When you understand that the night will no longer feel like a battlefield, it will feel like a gift. There is another truth about the night that most people never realize. The darkness does not create your fears. It reveals what you have been postponing. When the world is loud, you can outrun your thoughts. You can scroll, work, talk, move, distract yourself endlessly. But when the lights go out, there is nowhere left to run. The mind begins to open drawers you kept closed all day. It pulls out unfinished conversations, unspoken feelings, hidden insecurities, quiet disappointments. It does this not to punish you but to process. The problem is not that thoughts appear. The problem is that you believe you must solve them immediately. Imagine a woman who carried pressure silently every day. She smiled at work, handled responsibilities, responded to messages, supported others. She told herself she was fine. But every night her chest tightened as soon as her head touched the pillow. Her brain replayed everything she had ignored. She felt overwhelmed and did not understand why it only happened in the dark. One evening, instead of fighting the tension, she asked herself a different question. What did I not allow myself to feel today? The answer surprised her. She had been hurt by a comment but never admitted it. She had felt tired but never rested. She had felt uncertain but never paused. The night was not attacking her. It was asking her to listen. Overthinking at night is often unprocessed emotion looking for acknowledgement. When you suppress feelings during the day, they do not disappear. They wait. Silence gives them space. That is why one of the most powerful changes you can make is emotional honesty before sleep. Take a few minutes and ask yourself what you are actually feeling. Not what you think you should feel. Not what looks strong, but what is true. Sad, anxious, excited, disappointed, relieved. Naming emotion reduces its intensity. Neuroscience shows that labeling a feeling lowers activity in the emotional centers of the brain. You are not eliminating emotion. You are integrating it. There is also a deeper lesson hidden in nighttime thinking. Control is an illusion the mind clings to when it feels uncertain. If I analyze it enough, maybe I can prevent it. If I replay it enough, maybe I can fix it. But control through exhaustion creates fragility, not strength. Real resilience comes from restoration. Think of your mind like a phone battery. During the day, you run multiple applications at once. Communication, planning, decision-making, emotional processing. By night, your battery is low. Trying to solve life problems at that moment is like running heavy software on 1% power. Everything slows down and errors increase. The wisest action is to recharge, not to force performance. There is a practice that changes everything when done consistently. Mental boundaries. You set a gentle rule. After a certain hour, I do not engage in heavy thinking. If a serious topic appears, you write it down and postpone it. This is not avoidance. It is scheduling. You are teaching your brain that there is a time for analysis and a time for rest. The more consistently you honor this boundary, the more your brain trusts it. Trust reduces urgency. Another powerful shift is gratitude before sleep. Not forced positivity, but intentional awareness. Recall 3 small things that were steady today. A kind word, a completed task, a moment of calm. Gratitude shifts attention from threat scanning to safety recognition. The brain cannot fully operate in fear and appreciation at the same time. You are not denying challenges. You are balancing perception. There is also the role of identity. Many people unconsciously believe they are overthinkers. When you attach identity to a behavior, you strengthen it. Instead of saying I am an overthinker, say sometimes my mind overthinks when I am tired. That small language shift creates flexibility. You are not defined by the pattern. You are observing it, and patterns can change over time as you practice breathing slowly before sleep, journaling lightly, reducing stimulation, and postponing complex decisions. Something subtle but powerful begins to happen. Your nervous system recalibrates. Your body learns that darkness is not danger. Your mind learns that silence is not a threat. The room that once felt heavy begins to feel protected. The bed becomes a signal of restoration, not interrogation. One night you may notice that a thought appears, and instead of spiraling you simply nod internally. Not now. Tomorrow. You roll onto your side. You breathe. And sleep arrives gently without force. That is the shift. It is not dramatic. It is gradual. It is built on repetition. And the greatest lesson of all is this. The night is not asking you to solve your life. It is inviting you to trust that you can pause. You do not have to carry every answer into the dark. You do not have to win every argument in your head before sunrise. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is close your eyes without resolving everything. Because clarity grows in rested soil. Strength grows in stillness. And when morning comes you will realize that the problems you feared at midnight look smaller in the light. The night was never your enemy. It was simply training you to let go. And in the end you will understand something simple but powerful. The goal was never to silence your mind completely. The goal was to trust yourself enough to rest. The night does not test you. It teaches you. It teaches you that not every thought deserves your energy and not every fear deserves your attention. When you allow yourself to sleep without solving everything, you send one clear message to your brain. I am safe. I can pause. I will handle tomorrow when it arrives. And that quiet trust is where real peace begins.